Remember this person from last week? Well, depending on where your headspace is at, you may wish to do something a little bit more productive with your time. This week, I'll be sharing with you some of the steps I underwent to leave my 9-to-5 job to pursue my dream of becoming a writer and actor, and a very reluctant producer. From financing to developing your skills and even testing the waters, I'll share with you some of the steps that you may wish to use this time considering. A lot of people are currently reassessing their lives and thinking they want to give up their 9-to-5 to really pursue their dream of becoming a hairdresser or an accountant or a web designer or an actor or a professional chocolate taster. That is actually a thing. I mean, why did I not know about this before? Everyone's circumstances will be different, so I can't give specifics. But what I can do is share some pointers with you on things that you might want to spend this time praying and thinking about to make it easier for you to set those wheels into motion later. Now would be a great time to spend thinking about whether or not the move you want to make is really the right move for you. Should it remain a hobby, or can you really make a go of it? Think honestly about yourself and think, are you dedicated, hardworking, consistent? Do you have a track record of finishing tasks? Are you self-motivated? Or are you fickle, easily distracted? And do you get bored quickly? If it's the latter, then you might want to spend time praying about and addressing those issues, because to be honest, you are going to need a whole heap of dedication if you are 100% going to be committed to pursuing your dream. Consider your family. If you have a family, then a major career change is going to affect their lives as well. Do you have the full support of your spouse? How will this impact your children? Can you do this while still prioritizing your current relationships? What sacrifices will you and your family have to make? Your financial situation. I have spoken to so many people over the years who would leave their jobs tomorrow. Please don't do that. I will explain why later. To pursue their dreams, but they're just not in the financial position to do so. Paying the rent or mortgage is usually the biggest concern, and for me it's the area I have to give the most thought and planning to. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't advise on your personal situation, but what I can do is share my testimony. In my early 20s, I was looking to buy a house on a single income. I will never forget the look on the mortgage advisor's face when I asked her to run the figures again and tell me what my monthly repayments would be if I borrowed less. Yes, at a time when everyone wanted to borrow so much more than they were entitled to, I was actually asking to borrow less. Why? Because I knew that in 5 years' time, when I gave up my well-paying day job to pursue my dream, that I would still have that mortgage to pay. So I moved the zone further out and got a cheaper house, which also meant I could make crazy overpayments, so that by the time I came to leaving my job, my mortgage wasn't so much of an issue. I'm really grateful to God for the wisdom He gave me in that area, because it really has made a great difference. You'll also have other financial considerations, like how you're initially going to fund yourself. I managed to save a year's salary before I left, and if you can do the same, then great. Maybe you want to start thinking about what you're going to sacrifice, some designer clothes, take away 5 nights a week. But if you are not in a position to save, then you might want to consider what other possibilities exist. So we're talking about finances. You may also wish to consider multiple revenue streams. Depending on your career path, one income may be enough, but I know in my industry, the creative industry, virtually no one has one line of income. Unless of course you're an A-lister, and even some of them don't. So you might want to consider what other skills and talents you have that can be monetized. Personally speaking, I would never have thought about selling cakes or public speaking. But someone approached me and asked me if I would speak at an event, and then told me how much they were going to pay me, and I was like, whoa, you want to pay me to speak? My entire life, my family have been trying to pay me to shut up. But yeah, sure, why not? I had someone around for dinner and they just loved the cake I made for dessert, and she was like, this is fabulous cake. People will pay for these cakes. You should sell cake. A few weeks later, I made a cake for a friend's party. By the end of the night, people were coming up to me asking me how much I would charge to make cakes for various events. And I thought, oh, people really will pay for my cakes. Happy days. So start thinking about what other skills you may have, even if they seem less obvious. Think about if you have all the skills and abilities you need to make a real go of it, or will you need to train and study further to develop those talents? And if so, how can you fit this in around your current job? I remember doing a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 job and then writing a couple of productions a year, which I'd use the weekends and evenings to rehearse for. How can you improve your skill set and knowledge during this period or around your current job? Think about how you're going to test the waters, which I believe is vital. Remember I said earlier not to just give up your day job tomorrow? I had a conversation once with someone who thought what I was doing was great, and she said she had always wanted to give up her day job to become a drama teacher and an actress. Less than 3 months later, I got a phone call from her. She was like, "Yo, I've done it. I've given up my day job." I was like, "Wow, that was quick." She was like, "Yeah, it was now or never." So I said, "What about my suggestions regarding taking time to plan and have a test period?" She was like, "I'll just wing it." Less than 2 months later, she was back at her 9 to 5 job. Now, praise God, I was fortunate enough to be able to take a sabbatical and produce a few plays during that period, which meant by the time I resigned, I knew I had a real chance of making a go at things. I was also able to do a lot of networking during this period, so I had contacts I could call on to work with me on productions, which meant I could hit the ground running. Proverbs 21 verse 5 tells us that if we plan diligently, we will have plenty, but if we act in haste, there will be lack. And finally, what about a mentor? Do you know someone who's jumped ship to do what you're trying to do? This might be a great time to connect with them and see if they don't mind sharing their journey with you. So hopefully these are some of the things you can reflect on now if you're serious about making your dream career a reality. This current situation has highlighted that we really don't know what tomorrow holds. It took me 5 years of planning, saving, and developing my skills. It may take you less, it may take you more. But either way, today's the day to start contemplating and set those wheels in motion. Thank you very much for watching. Please let me know if it's been useful. Hit the SVG logo and you can subscribe to our channel. Click the notification bell so you'll know every time we post. And hit the playlist to see any Silvano Shares videos that you may have missed. See you next week.